Hey you guys, it's Psycho. And I know what you might be thinking. When Guild Wars 2 comes out, what am I gonna play? I've got a little bit of a solution for you. I'm gonna be going over all of the classes and their pros and cons, their strengths and weaknesses, all that good stuff, and we will work together to get what you need for Guild Wars 2 on release. So we're gonna be talking about the Ranger, and I've got plenty of ideas and thoughts about them, and let's just start hopping in and talking about them. So right off the bat, my first and foremost favorite thing about the Ranger is their ability to just flash condition enemies. They can put huge amounts of conditions on an enemy in a short amount of time, and this is put together because of the use of their pet. See, the pet can put on its own conditions while you put on your own conditions. This can make it so you can just put tons of condition damage on an enemy almost instantly. One of my favorite instances of this is you use the axe in your first hand and the dagger in your second hand, and you carry sharpened blades as one of your utilities. Finally, you carry a cat as one of your pets and the spider as another one of your pets. You throw your crippling dagger at the enemy, causing 3 stacks of bleed. Then you use sharpening blades and you throw 5 axes of bleeding at an enemy. That'll make it so they take another 10 stacks of bleed. They're now at 13 stacks. Once you're at this point, you just see numbers flying. It's actually quite a lot of damage. I'm not going to joke around. Then the cats have the ability to put 4 stacks of bleed on an enemy and cause vulnerability. On top of that, if you spec into it, your cat's basic crit damage will also come out as bleeds, and you can also spec it so that your crits have a chance to cause bleed. You can keep enemies an area of 9 to 18 stacks of bleed easily. Finally, after you put all your bleed stacks on, which literally takes just 2 seconds, you then do that cool evadey think attack that will make it so that they're now poisoned. And then your pet, as the spider, will then cause poison of its own. Its basic attacks, next 3 will cause poison. Then you swap weapons maybe a little bit. You go into sword and torch. Then you spin around them, put some more poison on it, and throw your torch at them, put on fire. All of this combo really only takes about 6 seconds to do, and it's just tons of damage over time. And it's probably my favorite thing that the Rangers can do. The Ranger also does have traps, and the traps are extremely powerful if played correctly. Now, I do not think that a full trap build Ranger is very successful. If you use the traps to make up for the conditions you don't already have in your lineup, they can be very powerful. There's a trap that causes cripple and bleed, and you add that onto the bleed you already have, you can get up to like 22 stacks of bleed. And let me tell you, they'll die so fast. It's way more powerful than flame. There's also traps that will cause fire. There's also a trap that will cause poison, as well as one that causes chill. And chill's really sweet as a CC skill because they won't be able to attack you as much, nor will they be able to keep up with you. Now, moving off of the hardcore condition damage, they have all sorts of other things in their toolkit. The Ranger really shines when you take into account their pet. The pet at low levels isn't very strong, but don't let that discourage you because the pet becomes a very pinnacle point of the Ranger. Not only does it have the chance to keep enemies off of you with its own aggro, but it provides buffs to you as well as a lot of DPS. It really does provide a lot of damage if you carry the right type of pet or spec them in a certain way that just allows them to shine. As long as you take one form of allowing your pet to stay alive, be it heals 1 crit, the signet, you spec all the way into Beast Mastery and allow them to just have their passive regeneration. All these types of ways will keep your pet from really dying ever, and you can just hold 1 pet. This is talking about PvE, that is. Let's be honest, the Rangers have also got a very powerful long-range tool as the longbow, as well as a very powerful up-close tool as the greatsword. So they can also do pure damage if you don't want to spec them into conditions, which allows them to do all sorts of things. The Ranger has plenty of weapons in their toolkit as well, which gives them as much versatility as the Guardian. They've got the short bow, greatsword, and longbow, as well as the axe, one-handed sword, war horn, dagger, torch. These guys have all sorts of ways to maintain their dominance and crush their opponents. They also can fulfill a very powerful support role. They have these things called spirits. One causes protection, one causes the ability to inflict burning, one causes the ability to do more damage, and the last one will cause you to give allies swiftness as a 20% chance when being hit. On top of that, they also have their own actives like blinds, damage, and other notable abilities that allow them to control their enemies and allies alike. These spirits give you the hands-free ability to support your allies without having to put even much effort into doing it. It's almost like a permanent protection from the protection one, which is my favorite of the spirits. As well as almost permanent fire, especially on bosses. Bosses are just on fire forever because they're constantly receiving damage from your allies. And finally, their ultimates. They're all pretty successful. My favorite being the healing spirit because it allows you to just keep your allies alive without even having to think about it. And if one does die, you activate it and bring them back to life. That's crazy. But on top of that, you got one that will snare enemies around you and then they're forced to attack that thing. Finally, you also have the rampage, which is really sweet because it'll give you bonus to crit damage, bonus to damage, all sorts of sweet things. Also moving quicker. It's one of my favorites. I love the ultimates of the Ranger. Definitely one of my favorite classes. And the biggest Achilles heel of the Ranger is the fact that they're extremely squishy. If you don't utilize your abilities to dodge and just your overall mindset to keep away from your enemies or keep your enemies slowed so that they cannot keep up with you, they'll take you out fast. The Ranger cannot sustain the amount of damage that the Guardian can because it doesn't have the self-heals that are necessary. The Ranger really doesn't have too many self-heals besides its 6 skill. If you are going to play the Ranger, I would definitely suggest playing with other people, but they definitely can be played by themselves if you do the conditions, because the condition one is so powerful. I can't even get over that. I'll definitely go ahead and explain that further in another video, but they definitely have what is necessary to be the top tier condition damage class. Thanks for watching, you guys. It's been a really good time. I hope that you did like this video, and if you did, give it that thumbs up. Also, go ahead and subscribe if you do like the stuff I put out. I am now in the mindset that I will be putting out videos a lot, very often, at least 3 a week, and more if possible. Eventually, I will be getting out a list, and that'll be sweet. Peace out, you guys.
Oh, hey there. I didn't, notice you. Anyways, if you did like this video and you want to see more like it, go ahead and search maybe right around here where the Guardian will be displayed. Also, if we head over to this one right here, that doesn't exist yet, but it will exist depending on when and you watch this video, but I mean, I don't know. That's going to be right here. Here's a hint, rhymes with Menjamir. And then right over in this area, this one rhymes with, it's going to be the thief. And then this one right here will be probably, I don't know. If you do want to see those, go ahead and check them out. Peace out.